Whether the screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Last class you have been discussing about the different flows, like so what is subcritical flow, supercritical flow, and critical flow. So for a hydraulic jump. So when the hydraulic jump occurs, what are the different flows with which actually the flow pattern is changing? Today we will start with actually the topic for today is most economical or most efficient cross section of a channel. Design of most economical or efficient section. So what is meant by most economical or most efficient section? What do you mean by general meaning of this? Can anybody say what could be? Huh? Can anybody say what is most economical? Huh? Nobody is there to answer.
It
I
should be
will.
useful and within our price limits.
Yes. It is something related to cost. Am I right? It is something related to cost. When it is economical in the sense, when you are able to reduce the cost. In what way you can be able to reduce the cost? In what way you'll be able to reduce the cost? In the section. For channel section, in what way will you be able to reduce the cost? Where the cost component is actually coming?
Design and materials.
Yeah. Materials. What for material is used?
That cement and all things.
Okay, that is okay. But where the materials are used? Suppose I am taking a section like this. Okay, this is my flow, depth of flow. Suppose I am considering a trapezoidal channel. Okay, where these materials are used actually?
For making the channel.
Of what? Which one you are going to make? That is called, what is called is lining. Am I right? Lining of channels. Isn't it? Lining of channel is nothing but you are making the channel to be lined. Channel means lining by means of cement, concrete, or with stone pitchings, or with bricks, whatever may be the material which you will be making. So that what for lining, the channel lining is carried out? So that you will be having a stable channel. Am I right? When you are having a stable channel, then you will be able to maintain the depth of the flow as constant. Not constant, maybe the depth could be maintained. The depth of the flow could be maintained with minimum and maximum range. There can be minimum, maximum, range could be maintained. Okay. So the cost is involved in this lining materials which could be used for lining process. And the cost of these materials could be high when the cost of the materials could be high, when the cost of the materials could be low. So for a given discharge, what is the main parameter here? We are going to use Q because it is a flow. There is some flow rate and flow water is flowing through the channel. So for a given discharge, what should be the condition actually? For a given flow rate, wetted perimeter. What is wetted perimeter? Suppose this is a rectangular channel, B is the width, D is the depth, and you have one more depth here. So what is the wetted perimeter here? B plus 2D. Am I right? So when the wetted perimeter is minimum, am I right? When the wetted perimeter is minimum, then you'll be able to design the most economical section. So for a given flow rate, if you have a minimum wetted perimeter, it means that the contact of water along the bed of the channel, that is nothing but your wetted perimeter. So when the wetted perimeter is minimum, that is going to be the most economical or efficient section. So if you design a most economical section, that is essential mainly for the cost benefit. Am I right? So if you are taking these parameters, I could say first parameter is the wetted perimeter. The length of the contact between the liquid and the sides as well as base. That is the meaning of wetted perimeter. Am I right? So the length of water contact between the sides and base of the channel. Wherever the water is getting. So top surface, it is free surface. So this you cannot take. This is not possible because only sides it is having a contact with the bed as well as on the side slope or whatever it is, sides. Okay. So here we can say this contact, this length of contact is nothing but B plus 2D, and that is called your wetted perimeter, provided D is the normal depth. Normally what we are going to consider is we are going to consider only uniform flow here. We are considering the uniform flow and take that or depth as the normal depth. Okay. Suppose area means this, the entire area. This is nothing but your area, and wetted perimeter is only the length of this is nothing but your wetted perimeter. Please remember these two parameters are essential for design of any section. And if you take hydraulic mean depth, this is another parameter, hydraulic mean depth or hydraulic mean radius, and R is equal to A by P. A is the area of the cross section, P is the wetted perimeter. So for rectangular channel, I can write R is equal to A is B into D divided by P is P plus 2D. Is it clear? So this is going to be your hydraulic mean depth or hydraulic mean radius. This is another parameter. So one parameter is your wetted perimeter. Second parameter is your hydraulic mean depth or hydraulic mean radius of the channel R. Okay. Is it clear? I'm not hearing any voice.
Yes, ma'am.
Say somebody
Yes,
yes or no. Otherwise, I think that you people are sleeping. Now it is better that you don't have any people to see. So, but it is fully problematic subject. You please listen. Otherwise, very difficult for you to complete. It is completely problematic subject. Then the other parameters are the flow, velocity of the flow, and freeboard and side slopes. These are the other parameters of the channel. So Cheji's formula, I think already it is a repetition for you again. So Cheji's formula is V is equal to C into root of Rs, where V is the velocity, R is the hydraulic mean radius, which means that R is equal to A by P. Whenever I am seeing A by P, P represents only wetted perimeter. Please remember this always. P represents wetted perimeter, and S is the you can say it is a longitudinal slope actually, longitudinal slope of a channel bed. But this C is a coefficient, Cheji's coefficient, and usually this coefficient, which is a function of R and channel roughness, small m. Okay, and V is the velocity of the flow. So first parameter is wetted perimeter, second parameter is R, third parameter is V, velocity of the flow. Parameters we are going to see. Then next is your some definitions for these things. For the design of channels, we'll be choosing that freeboard and side slope. What is a freeboard? Freeboard is, suppose this is your cross section. So the vertical distance between the highest water level is anticipated in the design. Okay, and the top of the retaining banks. So you'll be having the retaining banks, and this is going to be your freeboard. And it is a safety factor actually, especially to prevent the overtopping of structures. So water should not flow on the sides. Okay, so you'll be able to maintain the freeboard so that overtopping could be allowed from the sides. So what is the highest water level which can occur in the particular channel with respect to the top of the retaining work? That is nothing but your freeboard. And side slope, if you take rectangular channel, there is no side slope. If you take triangular channel, trapezoidal channel, there is a side slope. So side slope is applicable for both trapezoidal and triangular. So here the ratio of the horizontal to vertical distance. So this is horizontal, this is vertical. To the channel is nothing but your side slope. Okay, so normally it is expressed as 1 in n, 1 vertical, n horizontal. Okay, so this is about your other parameters. Next we'll see how we are going to design the most efficient or most economical cross section. You can see here. So what we are going to discuss here is, please listen, steady uniform flow. What is meant by steady flow? Can anybody say? Ahmed Rashid, can you say what's a steady flow? Not present. Amar Kumar? Amit Ikram? Dilraj Saini? Gokul? See, are you able to listen to me or not? Whether are you able to hear me?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yeah. Can anybody answer what is a steady flow?
Steady flow is the
And the characteristics of the
velocity
flow are
does not change.
constant with respect to the time.
With respect to time is constant.
Yes. Dou V by dou T is going to be
0.
0. Then it is a steady flow. What is a uniform flow? dV by dx, dV by dy is going to be With respect to space, it is going to be 0. Then it is a uniform flow. Am I right? Suppose I am having a channel, a section. This is considered as a plan. This is the length of the flow. This is the plan of a channel. What do you mean by plan? Plan is nothing but top view. Am I right? So I am seeing the channel in the top view. So let us take 1 kilometer is the length of the channel. I am considering two sections, 1 and 2. So if you are considering these flow parameters such as velocity, acceleration, density, this is at section 1. When time t is equal to t1, time t is equal to t2, your velocity remains same. So v is equal to constant at all times t. Okay, and when this flow is from channel 1, from section 1 to section 2, as it flows, from section 1 to section 2, the velocity remains constant. If the velocity remains constant from section 1 to section 2, then that means that over the space or over the distance, then it is called uniform flow. Can you see the difference between steady flow and uniform flow? Please make the different sense. So steady flow is at particular point of time. At particular point of time or at particular section, if you measure with respect to variation of time, your flow of parameters remains constant. And with uniform flow, if the flow parameters are constant over a space, suppose I am taking this all along the length of the channel across the section X and Y. If it is constant, then it is called uniform flow. Okay, so we are going to design for channels for steady uniform flow. So what kind of channels are used for the design actually? So channels are very much important in engineering projects. Why? Especially in irrigation and drainage engineering, the channel designs are very much important. And similarly, channels which are used for irrigation are usually called canals. Canals, again, I could classify canals into major canals and minor canals. These are for irrigation purpose. Okay. And the channels used for drainage are usually called drains. So these are the two reasons. One is for drainage purpose, it is drains. Another one is for irrigation purpose, it is called canals. So either storm water or waste water, they are called drains. So if you collect storm water and waste water through channels, then they are called drains. Instead, if you collect water, rainwater from channels for irrigation, then they are called canals. Okay, and we need to design both canals as well as drains for the engineering projects. Both designs are essential for the engineering projects. Now, this design is what we are going to concentrate on most economical or efficient section. When I am talking about most efficient section, the channel cross section is A, and roughness, suppose small n, if you take roughness coefficient, and bottom slope is S, longitudinal slope or bottom slope. Okay, so you have been given channel cross section, channel roughness. Why the channel roughness? Because whether the channel is lined channel or whether the channel is natural channel, or whether the channel is having boulders or the rocks, or whether the channel is lined with bricks, or whether it is lined with the cement mortar, or brick mortar, or concrete, or some concrete blocks, or whatever it is. So these are the roughness value of these things vary. So the roughness of all these materials will be different. Okay. So you need to know what is the roughness of the channel material which is used for the flow. Because suppose D is going to be the normal depth, then the water which is in contact all along the side slope as well as on the base, it is the roughness plays a major role in the flow conditions. Okay, because as more and more will be the rough, whether will it be affecting the velocity, flow velocity, or what will happen to the losses? What will be the losses? Suppose there are two channels I'm having. I'm giving you one question here. Okay, so I'm having two channel here. One channel is natural channel or natural canal, maybe with whatever the local earthen material which is available. The other channel is lined with cement concrete. Okay, this is the plan of this channel. Suppose section 1 and 2. And I am finding what is my energy here. H1 is equal to Z1 plus P1 by rho G plus V1 square by 2G. Am I right? Similarly, H2 is equal to Z2 plus P2 by rho G plus V2 square by 2G. It could be either H1 or it could be E1. Sometimes this Z plus P1 by rho G is replaced by hydraulic gradient by small h1, and similarly this is also replaced by hydraulic gradient called small h2. So I can say E1 is equal to h1 plus V1 square by 2G, E2 is equal to h2 plus V2 square by 2G. Am I right? This is according to energy equation, Bernoulli's equation for steady uniform flow. This is possible only for steady. That is why I have considered now we are concentrating only on these two flows, steady and uniform flow in a channel section is what we are studying. So under this condition, if this Bernoulli's equation is applicable, then the section 2, sections 1 and 2 will be having the total energy E1 and E2. Now my question is, this is say 1, this is say 2. I have the length of one case 1 is channel with natural channel. Case 2 is channel which is lined with the cement concrete. Okay. So in which case I can expect the suppose E1, because here E1 is always higher than E2 because flow is from left to right. Okay, E1 is higher than E2 because energy at section 1 is higher, energy at section 2 is lower because of frictional losses. Now, here, in which condition you can expect that E1 is equal to suppose E2 plus HL. So this is for natural and E1 for E2 for natural and this thing E1 for cement concrete and E2 for cement concrete plus HL. Okay. So here equation 1 and 2. I have written two equations. In which equation the HL will be more? Can anybody answer?
First equation.
First equation. Means for natural channels, the head will be more. Am I right? Because of what is the reason?
Roughness is high in first natural channel.
Yes. Yes. Because of roughness. Because of more roughness, the head loss is more. Okay. So the friction loss may be due to friction, I could say. So the roughness, since more roughness, more will be the losses. Okay. So when the channel which is lined, you can reduce the losses. So when you're reducing the losses, what is your advantage actually? When losses are reduced, what is your advantage of using that? Anybody? When losses are reduced, what is the advantage of having that channel? You told me like channel 1 is having higher roughness. Okay, so which channel I will prefer for design? Either channel 1 or channel 2?
Channel 2.
Channel 2. Why?
I mean, this energy will be more
Which one will be more?
in second case.
Which one will be more? Second case?
Energy.
Energy. Yes. Energy will be higher, loss will be lower, and hence because of that you will be able to maintain your discharge or the flow rate, because amount of water will not be lost. Some amount of water will be lost because of roughness or friction. That could be least in the case of second channel because of the reduction in the roughness. That is the reason we are preferring lined canals than natural canals. But if you see the cost involved in lined canal is more compared to natural canals. Am I right? Because you have to go for the lining process, which involves again cost. Okay. So when I want to reduce this cost, so some places where lining is mandatory, you have to maintain the head and you have to maintain the energy. Some places where you can maintain the natural canals. But if you go to foreign countries and all, most of the channels will be, many irrigation canals will be lined only. So that they can reduce the losses, and whatever the water which is released at the head, same amount of energy will be available at the tail end. Even if it travels for more than say 50 to 100 kilometers, the energy will not be lost because of the lining, efficient lining. So since our India is a poor country, it is very difficult for us to go for that process, like because as it involves lost huge cost. Normally natural canals which will be maintained over a period of time. Then they need, because in the natural canals what's the problem is there will be a frequent sediment deposition. Am I right? Sediment deposition and erosion may happen. Because of that, the channel cross section will be cannot be maintained. Channel cross section will be something like this. So difficult to maintain the channel cross section. That is one thing. Okay. Actually, what we are discussing the most efficient section, right? So here, in the most efficient section, we have seen the channel cross section, roughness, and bottom slope. Bottom slope is, suppose if this is your channel, maybe the bottom slope may be very less of theta. Suppose the flow can be due to gravity like this. Suppose flow direction is like this. If this is your flow direction, okay, maybe theta is very small longitudinal slope. This is nothing but your slope. And here What is your objective of most efficient section? The objective is to determine the flow velocity V, the depth D, V and D, and the flow rate Q. Okay, so we can determine flow velocity, depth of flow, and flow rate in such a way that you have to select the channel shape and bed slope. Bed slope is theta. Okay, section could be either rectangular or trapezoidal or circular or triangular. You can choose any particular shape. Okay, choices, you can choose the shape of the section. This is choice 1. Choice 2 is you can go for using the bottom slope, or we can say bed slope. Okay, so for a given shape and bed slope, you have to determine what is the velocity, depth, and the flow rate. And for a given discharge and your slope and roughness, what is the main aim of this? To minimize the cross-sectional area in order to reduce the construction cost. This is the aim of your economical section. So if we want to design an economical section, I have to minimize the cross-sectional area. If I minimize the cross-sectional area, so that I can reduce the construction cost. So the cross-section area is nothing but this one. That is your most economical section. And how we will be actually doing this? So the most efficient cross-section shape which will be determined for uniform flow condition is what we are going to discuss now. So considering the given discharge, the velocity V should be maximum. We should get the maximum velocity for the, what should be the condition? Minimum cross-section area. This will be the condition. Okay. So if this is the case, your area, our velocity should be maximum for a minimum cross-sectional area. Okay. What is the Manning's equation actually? V is equal to 2 by 3 s to the power half. This is the Manning's roughness equation. Manning's empirical equation for computing the velocity of the flow. Where R is the hydraulic mean depth, A by P, S is the bed slope, N is the roughness coefficient. So here, one thing is you need to maintain the wetted perimeter as minimum. And you are talking about, suppose let us take rectangular cross section. Keep the minimum wetted perimeter so that you can reduce the cost of construction. Okay, that is one thing. Second one is the semicircle section. The semicircle section having its center in the surface. Suppose this is the circular section. Okay, if I am having a semicircular section having the center at the surface. This is the surface. So this could be the D, depth of flow. And this is also the best hydraulic section. So this is one condition. This is condition 2 for a semicircular section. And your hydraulic mean radius is nothing but your A by P, isn't it? R is equal to A by P. Hence, if the channel section with the least minimum wetted parameter is the best hydraulic section. So when you are reducing this, when we are reducing the wetted perimeter, okay, then that is going to be our best hydraulic section. Best hydraulic section, most efficient section, most economical section, all are one and the same. This is also same, this is also same. Okay. Now, how we are going to design this most economical section for a rectangular section? So let us consider here. So take a rectangular section with B as the width, D as the depth. Okay. So here I am taking the, according to continuity equation, Q is equal to AV. Discharge is equal to area into velocity. Q is the discharge, A is the area of the flow, V is the velocity with which the water is flowing. Okay. And if you want Q to be maximum, then because Q is directly proportional to V. When V is maximum, then Q is also going to be maximum. So if Q to be maximum, where V should also be maximum. But the cross-sectional area remains constant. You are not changing the cross-sectional area. Okay. But what is this equation? This roughness without Mechie's equation. V is equal to C into root of Rs or Mi. Both are same. So here Rm is same as R. Okay. Nothing but Mi is same as Rs. Hydraulic mean depth and our bed slope. Ra is M is usually alternate for R. Similarly, R. Okay. So here what happens is, if you want to have the minimum wetted perimeter, okay, then if you want to have the minimum, because R is equal to A by P. If I want to have the minimum wetted parameter, then my M to be maximum or R to be maximum, because the cross-sectional area remains same. But when you want to have a minimum wetted perimeter, then you can increase R. So for given cross-section with the constant cross-sectional area, if I want to reduce the perimeter, wetted perimeter, then where R becomes maximum. R to be maximum when P tends to minimum. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then now, so you know the cross-sectional area now. A is equal to B into D, because rectangular section BD, D is the depth of flow. So area is going to be B into D. Okay. And what is your B now? In terms of A and D, B is equal to cross-sectional area by D. What is your wetted perimeter? P is equal to B plus 2D. So this is going to be your wetted perimeter. Okay. And now I am going to write P is equal to B plus 2D here. So B I am writing in terms of D. So P is equal to B plus 2D, or B is equal to A by D plus 2D. Isn't it? So I am substituting for B and I am writing what is my P. Now for wetted perimeter to be minimum, I am differentiating dP by dd. With respect to D, I am differentiating the wetted perimeter. So dP by dd will be equivalent to, because the right hand side you have in terms of 1 by D. So minus A by D square plus 2. Differentiation of 1 by D is minus 1 by D square. Differentiation of D is 1. And hence minus A by D square into plus 2. Am I right? So for wetted perimeter to be minimum, your dP by dd should be equivalent to 0. Now I am equating this to 0. I will be getting D square is equal to A by 2 is equal to BD by 2, or I am getting D is equal to B by 2. So my depth of flow, if it is B by 2, okay, then I can say my rectangular cross section is most efficient or economical. When the depth of flow for a rectangular channel is b by 2, b is the width of the flow. When it is b by 2, then your channel section is most economic, more efficient. Okay, what is M here? M is nothing but your R, hydraulic mean radius. A by P. A is B into D. P is B plus 2D. Now, substitute, if you substitute for most economical section, D is equal to B by 2 or your B is equal to 2D. Am I right? Substituting 2D here, I will be getting 2D square divided by 2D by D plus 2D. So now this is going to be D by 2. Now R is also going to be D by 2 and B is also, sorry, D is also going to be D by 2. So these are the conditions for most economical cross section. Let me write again. For rectangular section, R is going to be D by 2 and your D is going to be B by 2. These are the conditions for most economical efficient cross section for rectangular section. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Now, similarly, we will find out what could be the most economical cross section for a trapezoidal section. This is for rectangular section. When it is trapezoidal section, then what is the most economical cross section? I think time up, right? Okay, I'll stop here and we will continue next class tomorrow. Any doubts?